My grandmother grew up in Arkansas, in a small place called Gumlog, located in what's known as the River Valley at the base of the Ozarks. She would tell me stories that she swore were true, and I'd like to share them with everyone. First story. She grew up picking cotton. Most of us from the South have had a grandparent who picked cotton. She said that when they were kids, as they worked the fields, they would see a large black cat on the edge of the fields. I don't know what that large cat was, but in 2020, my wife, my children, and I saw one cross the road directly in front of us in the same area. Her father would shoot at it but never hit it. The cat would then run off. At night, they would hear it scream. She always said it sounded like a woman screaming. Second story. My great-grandfather owned a mountain called Iron Ore Mountain in an area called Caglesville, Arkansas. What we call mountains are actually hills, but everyone refers to them as mountains. I can't say if the mountain actually had ore in it, that's just what it was called. My grandfather, John Gray, was riding horses one day on this mountain with a friend. As they rode down an incline, a ball of what he described as fire came out of the ground and flew under his friend's horse. John yelled for his friend to watch out, but his friend didn't see anything. When he got home that night, he told my grandmother what happened. She said she knew then that his friend would die soon. A week later, my grandfather's friend died in some kind of accident at a sawmill. Third story. Another time, back on Iron Ore Mountain, my grandparents were cutting firewood. When they left, they were driving down a muddy dirt road. A few miles from the highway, they were stopped by what looked like a log across the road. She told me it was about 10 inches in diameter. When my grandfather got out of the truck, the log moved. It was a massive snake, approximately 25 to 30 feet long. It just slid across the road, minding its own business. We don't have large snakes in Arkansas, especially nothing that big. Fourth story. When my mother was born, they moved into a small house just outside of Hector, Arkansas. Almost every morning, they would wake up to find the front door open. At night, the bathroom faucet would turn on, and wet footprints would lead out the door. They never saw or heard any ghostly noises. My mother claims that when she was older, a neighbor said a witch had lived in that house until she died. Fifth story. My grandmother had a sister named Leona, who was married to a man named Charlie. They were married for over 30 years and lived in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. At some point, a woman moved in across the street from them. After that, Leona always said she had a funny feeling about this woman. The woman was also older, in her late 50s to mid-60s. After a while, Leona's husband Charlie started spending more time with this lady. Leona fell into bad health, and there was a rumor in the family that the woman living across the street was a witch who had put a curse on Leona to steal Charlie away. Leona eventually died, and Charlie moved in with this woman. They lived together for about 6 weeks. One morning, Charlie was found dead in the yard from an apparent heart attack. The woman, who was supposedly a witch, wouldn't let any family members into her house to collect Charlie's things. The people who went up on the porch to collect the belongings she had boxed up said they felt very uncomfortable. The interior of the house was very dark, with no natural sunlight. I know this story can easily be explained as just humans being bad to each other, but for the older members of my family, they were really freaked out by the whole situation. If you made it this far, thank you for reading. My grandmother told these stories to us kids, and I think she would have liked that I shared them here.